Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. My name is Ryan Buck, and in this tutorial we will be reviewing the Design Staff Hour Guideline Forms, tab 6C, Selective, Clearing, and Grubbing. This is a new tab that's created in the latest release of the Design Staff Hour Forms and Guidelines. That release was in September of 2023. 6C was created. Selective, Clearing, and Grubbing used to exist in tab 4 and 5, as well as tab 25 and 26, the landscape and the roadway. So it's basically removed from those components and created its own component here in 6C. And so it's essentially all of the selective, clearing, and grubbing tasks are in its own component now. It's in the new format, which is what we call the calculated version of the staff hour guidelines, where you enter in project parameters, you tell units of the project, be it length, quantities, and other things that are included in the project task, and then as well as complexities right here in the complexity range, and it'll calculate automatically for you a estimate of number of staff hours based on the established guidelines. And that guideline spreadsheet is located on our website, the Scope and Staff Hours website, along with this form. And then that is a recommended starting point for your project, and then you'll have to analyze what it is the calculated staff hour is, and then increase or decrease or agree with that calculated staff hour for that project, and you can document anything you need. There's instructions over here on how to use this form. I'll be going over that in the tutorial, and then here's also the link to a library of tutorials for all the new calculated sheets. Down here at the bottom right is my contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions, find any flaws, and I'll be happy to help you. So let's get started on tab 6C. So the first task, I'm going to zoom in here, is there's a question at the top after you fill in some information with who's negotiating on the project. What is the overall project complexity? And it says see selective, clearing, and grubbing guidelines. So we have to determine the overall complexity of the project, and it's in this drop down right here, either simple, standard, or complex. So to do that, we'll go down here on this tab to our selective, clearing, and grubbing guidelines. So these guidelines are filled out as a simple matrix 2. You'll simply go through and answer questions about your project. So for example, you'll have the complexity of the right-of-way, and you'll select simple, standard, or complex, or NA in this drop down right here, and you'll get a rating system. So let's just say it's significant screening or buffering impacts, standard. Then you'll have your roadway type. Let's just say we're going to do a widening project, so that's standard as well. And you'll fill out so on and so forth. Roadway elements, standard, intersections, and interchanges. We'll go with that. Utility and local state agency coordination. We'll say that there are 5 utility agencies for this video tutorial. Number of species to eradicate, preserve. We'll say that there are none in A, right? So we'll put NA. Sensitive sites, wetlands, submerged. We'll say that there's minimal, so that would be a simple. All right. And then number of trees to be. There we go. We'll say that it's a standard 21 to 50 trees inventoried. And then number of trees to be root or branch pruned. We'll say NA for that. Tree palm relocation. We'll say we have a lot for some complex. There we go. And then any adjacent property screening concerns, none for this project. And you'll fill that out, so on and so forth, and it'll tabulate a total number of points, this matrix that has been established, and it's 14, so it will establish that the overall complexity of the project seems to be standard. anywhere from 10 to 20. Again, you'll have to use your judgment if you agree with this, but say you do agree with the overall complexity, you can then come back here and you can put in standard as your overall project complexity. Once you do that, you can see that standard is filled in for all of these line items. Again, you can change this if it's simple. They all are simple. And then you'll start filling out. So let's go over line item by line item to how to fill out each task. So in this case, for the data collection and inventory, it's asking for a couple parameters of the project. So the first one is the roadway length in miles. So you can see that there's multiple decimal points. If there's multiple decimal points, it's looking for either length or area. In this case, it's looking for the length of the roadway in miles. So let's just say we have a 2.5 mile roadway. And then it's asking for if there's any interchanges or rest areas. So number of interchanges or rest areas or similar area projects. All right, we'll just say we have one for this project. And as you can see, it's starting to calculate hours based on what you're telling it a standard project with these parameters in there. Then you'll have to agree with 30 hours or say that I need more like 40 or 50, or it's only about 15 hours for this particular project. And you can negotiate from there and document over here. 6C2 is the assessment and disposition determination. So is assessment and a disposition table required? Again, 1 is a yes and a 0 is a no, right? It won't let you enter 2, you'll get an error message. I'll show you that, what that looks like right there. We say we will have a disposition table and it'll recommend there. Again, if you don't, you would leave it at 0 and be 0 hours. 6C, selective clearing grubbing maintenance report. This is a report. Is 1 required? If 1's not required, you leave it at 0. In this example, we'll say we are. There's no complexity associated with that. It suggests 12 hours for this report. 6C4, selective clearing and grubbing plan. Again, this goes same with the data collection. It's looking for the length of the roadway in miles. So we have 2.5. And we have 1, we'll just say intersection as this example. And then we have details. So estimated number of details. This task includes any required notes. The disposition chart is considered a detail. So we now have that. Let's just say we have 3. No complexity involved. 12 hours. 6C5, selective clearing and grubbing quantities for the EQ report. So are quantities required? We'll say yes. And it'll recommend hours. And then 6C6 is the cost estimate. We'll say we have to do a cost estimate. That is your technical subtotal right there. Then we'll go into your non-technical subtotal. So 6C, 7, and 8 is QAQC, followed by supervision. These again are 1 and 0, yes or no for supervision QAQC. They're default left at 1 as on. If for some reason you don't need it, you could turn it to 0 and it gives 0 hours. It's based on 5% for both of these of the technical subtotal. So it's going to calculate 5% in each one of these tabs based on that technical subtotal of the department consultant and negotiated. If you would like to give a different percentage than 5, you could use 3, 7. You would document that over there. You'd have to manually calculate it, and then you can overwrite it in this red font negotiation column right here. So it's going to calculate 5%, but you can just overwrite that to whatever percentage you would like to use. The number of hours is what it would be. You'd input the number of hours right here. Same for supervision. 6C9 is the selective clearing and grubbing meetings. See the listed below, which we're going to use this table. You have local government, you've got your comment review meetings, utility coordination, or any other meetings. And you'd fill that out as necessary. Say we had 2, we had 1, and we had 2 other meetings. And you can see that that fills out to 5, and this 5 carries up to this cell right here in the black font. So this is your number of meetings, and it's going to recommend 10 hours, so 2 hours per meeting. Again, you can adjust accordingly. You might have one very long meeting that takes 8 hours, or you might have a bunch of just 30-minute meetings, and you can input that as needed and document as needed. Travel time is included if you have in-person meetings, especially local government. Let's just say for the 2 meetings, you had some travel right there. And let's say we had an hour travel for these other meetings right here. You can see that it calculates 3 hours of travel time. That gets carried up right here for 3 hours for travel. And then you've got number of meetings for the project manager. Any of these meetings will carry over to tab 3 for the project manager meetings and some documentation. 6C10 is field reviews. We've got a table for your field reviews down here. And so you've got 4 field reviews or plans in hand for field review. You do number of staff per field review. So we have 2. Then you've got your site time per staff. Let's just say they need to spend 4 hours right there, so that'd be 8, right? So that's both staff spending 4 hours at that field review. That's 8 hours. And then you've got travel time per staff. So let's say it took 1 hour to get there with both staff going. That's an extra 2 hours. So 10 hours, and that carries up right here to this cell. You got your non-technical subtotal, and then you've got 6C11, which is your coordination. It works the same as QA/QC and supervision. It's default on, and it'll calculate at 3% of the total, and then I'll total there. Again, if you need to change it, here's where you would do it and document. And then, of course, your grand total of the final negotiated right here, and this number will carry over to your summary tab for distribution. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Again, if you have any questions, my name's Ryan Buck, and here's my contact information. Don't hesitate to reach out.